Welcome to Reno's World Podcast, where truth and myth collide and every story gets a deep dive. I'm your host, Reno Rains, your guide through the unknown. Tonight's topic, Robert the Doll. We're exploring the strange, the mysterious, and the downright unbelievable. And just so you know, we play an old movie to give you something to look at because, well, this is a podcast and we like to keep things interesting. So sit back, relax, and let's unravel tonight's tale. They say if you disrespect him, he'll ruin your life. They say he watches you, and if you're not careful, he follows you. It all begins in a grand, weathered house at the corner of Eaton and Simonton Street in Key West, Florida. The year was 1904. A young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, known simply as Gene, was gifted a doll by a servant working in his family's home. Standing nearly as tall as the boy himself, the doll was dressed in a white sailor's uniform with a hauntingly blank expression and coal black eyes that some said glinted in the dark. Gene named him Robert after himself. And from the moment Robert entered that home, nothing was ever quite the same again. At first, it seemed innocent. Gene was often found talking to Robert, and if that was all, perhaps no one would have noticed. But Gene's parents began hearing two voices behind the closed bedroom door, one childlike and the other low, guttural, not Gene's voice at all. Neighbors swore they saw the doll move from window to window when no one was home. House staff reported objects in the home being rearranged, shattered, or flung across rooms. And always, Gene would say the same thing. Robert did it. The parents dismissed it as childish imagination. Until the night Gene awoke screaming, furniture overturned, toys broken, the room in chaos. When they burst in, Robert was sitting at the foot of the bed, staring, silent. As Gene grew older, the doll remained. Even as an adult, married and living again in the family home, he kept Robert in a special room of his own. Visitors recounted hearing footsteps from the attic when no one was up there. Some swore they heard laughter, thin and echoing. Gene's wife, Anne, reportedly begged him to lock Robert away. She claimed to have seen the doll's expression change before her eyes. Eventually, Robert was banished to the turret room upstairs, but the strange events never stopped. Gene passed in 1974. Shortly after, new owners moved into the Otto home, and with them came a fresh wave of strange activity. The new family had a 10-year-old girl who found Robert and brought him down from the attic. Within days, she began waking up screaming in the night. She said Robert wanted to hurt her, that he moved on his own. Today, Robert resides behind glass at the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West. But don't let the display fool you. Staff say he's far from dormant. Countless visitors claim that if you don't ask permission before taking Robert's photo, bad luck follows. The museum has received hundreds of letters from people begging Robert for forgiveness. Some arrive with apologies, others with offerings, candy, even joints of raw meat. What makes this legend different is that so much of it is documented. The museum keeps a binder full of letters from visitors reporting misfortunes, lost jobs, broken relationships, sudden accidents, all within days of photographing Robert without asking. One man wrote, "I didn't believe in curses. I thought it was a joke. But since visiting Robert, my car engine failed, I lost my job, and my dog died. I'm sorry, Robert. Please forgive me." Another woman's letter reads, "You told me not to take the picture. I heard it in my head, but I did it anyway. I've been sick ever since. I see you in my dreams. Please, I'm sorry." These aren't anonymous internet stories. They are real physical letters on file at the museum, often accompanied by dates, names, and return addresses. Robert has become a local legend and a national phenomenon, not just because of eerie lore, but because of the consistent first-hand reports that continue to this day. And yet, there's more. Staff at the museum report that Robert's facial expression subtly changes. Security cameras have recorded small shifts in his position, even though the case is locked. Former employees say the doll emits an unexplainable static charge when handled. Tour guides refuse to mock him, even in jest. Some won't go near his display at all. A longtime curator once remarked, "I've worked here 15 years. Nothing in this building scares me except him. I greet him every morning. I say thank you every night, just in case." From the hands of a young boy to a climate-controlled case behind glass, Robert has not just persisted, he's thrived on attention. And whether it's the energy of belief, a deeply rooted curse, or something else entirely, the legend only grows stronger. And if you're thinking of visiting him, remember this: ask for permission. Or you might just become the subject of the next letter in that binder. They say Robert isn't just haunted, he's aware. And the deeper you go, the more chilling it gets. In 1998, a local folklore expert named David Sloan took a keen interest in Robert's legend. What he found was more than urban myth. It was an active phenomenon. Sloan not only documented the history of the doll in detail, but interviewed dozens of museum staff, visitors, and even former owners. One account came from a man who worked security overnight at the museum. He swore that when he passed Robert's glass case during his rounds, the doll would be facing a different direction, as if it had turned to follow him. Cameras installed nearby later showed subtle shifts in position, without explanation. But perhaps the most unnerving reports are those that come from people who never even met Robert in person. In one case, a woman ordered a replica of Robert the doll from a gift shop, just a toy, harmless and mass-produced. Within weeks, she claimed to have experienced a wave of strange occurrences. Objects moved without cause, her TV flickered violently, her child developed night terrors. She mailed the doll back, overnight express, with a note that simply read, "I made a mistake. He wants to be left alone." The doll's reach isn't bound by location. In 2013, a TV crew filming a paranormal documentary in the museum joked about Robert on camera. Within days, 2 crew members were injured in unrelated accidents. One of their hard drives was corrupted, losing all footage of the museum segment. They had to refilm the episode and refused to mention Robert again. The museum has kept track of these reports, not as rumors, but as filed, timestamped documentation. Some visitors have even left offerings in person: wedding rings, military medals, rare coins. One note left behind read, "He knows what I did. This is the only way I can make it right." To this day, museum staff handle Robert with care. Before cleaning his display case, they greet him aloud, ask permission, and thank him afterward. A few guides carry protective charms or say quiet prayers before unlocking the turret door. But the legend didn't begin in the museum. To understand the origins, we must return to that Key West home, now known as the Artist House. Tourists can stay in the same rooms where Gene Otto once lived. According to several guests, strange phenomena persist there. Footsteps in empty hallways, radios turning on by themselves, and in one instance, a mirror cracking while someone was applying makeup. More than one guest has left early, citing the same reason: there's a presence upstairs. Though many explanations have been offered, psychological suggestion, coincidence, and the power of belief, none explain the consistency of the claims. And it doesn't end there. In a 2005 interview, a retired Marine named Al Simmons visited the museum with his wife. They took a picture of Robert without asking. That night, Al said he felt an overwhelming pressure in his chest while sleeping, like something heavy was standing on him. His wife reported hearing whispering in the room, but no one was there. The next morning, the photo they'd taken was gone from their camera's memory card. In its place, a single corrupted image, distorted and pitch black. They mailed an apology to the museum the next day. Hundreds of cases like these across decades, across states, across cultures, all centered around a single inanimate object. Robert the doll is not just a museum attraction. He's not just a footnote in Florida folklore. He is, by every documented account, a persistent anomaly, one that defies time, distance, and disbelief. To skeptics, he's just a doll. To those who've crossed him, he's something else entirely. So if you ever find yourself in Key West, standing in front of that glass case, staring into those black button eyes, remember this: ask for permission, because Robert the doll doesn't forgive, and he never forgets. The letters to the museum, verified as true, physically archived and publicly documented. Museum staff reports of movement and energy anomalies, verified, multiple eyewitnesses, internal reports, and security logs. Paranormal activity in the Artist House and replicas causing hauntings, unverified, based on personal testimony, not substantiated by scientific evidence. Visitor misfortunes after disrespecting Robert. Part of the legend, though highly consistent, there's no definitive causal link. The historical origin of Robert, given to Jean Otto in 1904, verified, documented by family records and historians,